So here it is. Decided that I'm going to do a review after having this thing for about 2 months. The G0733. Really nice lathe. I have really zero issues with it. Well, I guess minor complaints, but they're things that I can deal with. First off is the indexing right here. The pin, which I've got some magnets super glued to the side of the head, and the pin clicks onto the magnets. Kind of convenient, but to index more than 12, then you have to thread it into the 2 holes above or the one below there. The larger hole you see is the it just slides in and out of that one. It's not too bad there, but outside of that, this thing is like amazing. I mean, I'm used to Reeves drives and whatnot, and step pulleys, and having the electronic control of the speed has just been fantastic. Makes things a whole lot smoother, and it's quiet, very, very quiet. That is my biggest bonus of this thing, is that it's quiet. I got a lamp sitting up on top of the headstock, and even when I'm doing stuff that causes a bit of vibration, it stays put. It's not like trying to fall off of there. So it's a very solid lathe. I do have it bolted to the floor. Let's see, I can zoom in here. Bolted to the floor with 3/8 anchors at each of the four corners. The basket, I was keeping some different tools in there, like the face plates and extra tool rests and stuff. But now I've got a rack on the wall that holds those, so that kind of just sits there now. Don't really use it. The tailstock, before, when I first got it, I was having a problem. It bound up when I was drilling a big hole with a Forstner bit and started not moving so well. Took it apart, cleaned it, greased it, and it's back to where it was. So it's like a freewheeling dude, you know. You just give it a spin and it pushes out the quill about 3/4 of an inch or so. I mean, just by the flick of your wrist. It's kind of nice. So yeah, the machine is awesome. I'm also going to, in this video, give you a little bit of review of a couple of tools, but first we're going to get the project for today, this piece of walnut with a piece of maple glued to it, up on the lathe, and we'll get it started. And then as I introduce those tools that I've picked up at the same time I picked up the lathe, I will kind of give a review of those as well. Both of them I've found to be pretty amazing. So. Oh, quick thing. Let's see if I can back out enough here for you to see it. This is the camera crane. When I'm doing the videos and you see it change position, that's because I can just swing this puppy around. It always stays centered on the headstock, at least to a degree. The plate on the ceiling right there is directly above the bed, about a foot in front of the arbor. So when I pivot it around, it kind of stays in position. I do small adjustments out here on the end. I got a light mounted on it, so of course it shines on whatever the camera's pointed at. So that's kind of a nice deal. Perhaps one day I will do a video just about how I built this thing. The top up there is a homemade Lazy Susan using 5/8 marbles, so it worked out pretty good. Anyway, let me get set up, and we'll get mounted up and start turning. Okay, so this is going to be a Quaich. It's a Scottish style drinking cup. Some friends of mine are getting married, and they're having a Scottish style wedding apparently, and they asked me if I would make them one. So I'm going to make them one. This is an RS 200 from Robert Sorby. It's a hollowing tool that has interchangeable bits. There's a shear scraper that goes onto it, and then they've got these little cutter heads. This is a rounded one. It also comes with a square one. But I bought it when I bought the lathe, and at first I was kind of like, yeah, it's okay. And then I sharpened it. It didn't come as sharp as I had expected it, and so now that I've got it sharp, it does an awesome job of hollowing. Now, granted, this is more of a bowl form, but you'll get the idea right away. You want to be, according to the instructions, just above center, so the tool's slightly inclined downward towards the center of the bowl, center of the piece, and it just flat out hogs it out. It's flat on one side, rounded on the other. With the small hollowing points, you use the flat side, and it's nice and stable. And this pivots, so if you're doing like an actual hollow form where you got to get inside of a shoulder, you can get it in there and get inside the shoulder. But for this part, it's just really nice. So you can actually hog it out of there pretty quick. I'm actually not going to use this to do this. I want to show you the other tool that I just received in the mail recently. And I've always wanted one. And now that I have one, I absolutely do not regret buying one. This is the one-way termite. I've got the small tip in it right now, but it's a ring cutter. And holy cow, it leaves a nice smooth surface. I need to lower the rest a bit. That's about right. But you present it on its side and then just rotate a little bit. If you get too big of a bite, you'll know it. It starts jumping around, but so let's zoom in on that a little. Whee. So let me get the light on it a little better there. I don't know if you can see that, how well you can see it on the, this is where the sortie went. Now it's a scraper, so it leaves a little bit of tear out, especially on the end grain. The grain right now, there, I got it running across. On the end grain out here, it's kind of tore up, but it's real smooth here from the sortie. In here, the one way, well, if I was actually getting a good cut, it would have left it just perfectly smooth all the way. It doesn't care. It's cutting. It's not actually scraping. But you can turn it to a scraper by altering your exposure. This is 15-year-old walnut that my dad had drying out upstairs in the shop for about, well, for 15 years. He cut it when he was working construction years ago. There you go. Just as smooth as glass in there. I got ridges, but it's the cuts themselves are smooth. This thing is awesome. And it comes with two different tips. And actually, I'm going to put the other tip in it, and then I'm going to come back on high speed and we'll hollow this thing out. So you see it like the ring looks like it gets all clogged up with sawdust. Don't think for a moment that that means it's going to stop cutting. It still cuts, but the issue becomes that you can't see what you're cutting. The glob of sawdust kind of gets in the way of your view. But so far this is turning out pretty nice. I'm going to take it down to where I can just see like a 2-inch circle of the maple in the bottom, and then I got to take it off and I'll be cutting the handles out on the bandsaw up to the edge of the bowl, and then chisel that out and smooth it out on the sides. And then I'm probably going to do a small carving in the maple at the bottom of the bowl. Then I'll put a finish on it and it'll be ready. And so we're back to the RS200. Now I've got the shear scraping head on it, and that'll let me get in there and clean up everything. My glue joint between the maple and the walnut wasn't 100% parallel to the face of the jaws, which is why the circle was kind of weird looking for a second there. And I took the parting tool and just cleaned up the edge of it. Hopefully when I use this in there it won't go back out around. If it does, I can always straighten it back up, but here we go. So that's about as far as I'm going to take it with the video. I'm going to sand it, and then I'll take it off of here, take it over the bandsaw and actually cut out. There'll be 2 little chunks left. All of this here and here will be gone, and those will be the little handles. And then I'll clean up this area out here with the chisel. I may leave the chisel marks just for a detail. I may sand it and make it smooth. I haven't quite decided yet. I kind of have creative license on this, so. Yeah, these are some neat tools. And by the way, I don't get paid to endorse these at all. I'm doing this because I'm finding things that work really well, and I want to share that. I mean, I guess that's I think that's the way it should be. The honesty involved in saying this is a good tool when I don't get paid to say this is a good tool. You know, these things are awesome. I mean, I've been turning with nothing but standard high-speed steel chisels for 20 some odd years, and finally was able to afford to buy some of the nicer stuff, and well, I'm not regretting it. I'll put it that way. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and have a good one. We'll be back. So I lied. It wasn't the end of the video. I decided that I would show you all how it came out. I left the rough carving on the... You know what? Let me take the camera off of the... There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. I left the rough chisel marks along the sides up to the handles there, and then on the inside I carved a nice cute little triskelion and used the dimple effect. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the video, I hope so, but used the dimple effect all around it, so that's looking pretty nice. I'm going to turn a jam chuck and then I'll flip it over, and I've got a little wooden peg that'll go up against the back there, and I'll cut all of it off except for maybe the middle 3/8, and then that part I'll sand off. But overall, I'm kind of like how this turned out. I might have to make another one to give to them because I want to keep this one. No, I'm kidding. Of course, an actual quaich is only 3 to 4 ounces, but I've known these people for a long time, and 3 to 4 ounces of whiskey will not be enough for them. So, so I made a big one. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the little bit that you did get to see. I'm sorry I didn't do the whole thing, but I'm kind of pressed for time on this one, and I'm also getting ready for a show here in about a week and a half, so I've got 2 other pieces I need to finish up today, and then I'm trying to get one a day done for the next week, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, Might have one more video before I go to my show. We'll see. And then I know in 2 weeks there'll be no video because I will be out in the boondocks on a 3-day camp out. So y'all have a nice one. Bye.